before we get started is always fun. Oh my goodness. I think we're recording now. So I'll set the table and kind of introduce you guys, and then I'll talk a little bit about Olympus Mons and our foundation, and then we're going to let you and Scott talk about your experiences with it. And Tasha, since Tasha was there and volunteering as you completed your epic third attempt, we've invited Tasha, who's kind of the most recent family member to the inner cadre here. So oh, that's
Nice.
that's nice, Scott.
I love it, Scott.
There you go.
That's
Rule number.
so. Okay, for those at home who can't see that, that is the Iron Hike icon disc. It's got 4 pines and 4 peaks representing the 4 mountains that are the signature mountains of our event series.
And
So
I fell asleep when they were doing it.
yeah, that's great. I'm going to share something real quick with the audience and get started. So give me a second. Let's go here. Let's talk a little bit. Well, first, let's start with this. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So this is what Olympus Mons is, and I'll tell you a little backstory about this. So back in 2023, sometime around May, we were all thinking about what are we going to do no, it was earlier than May. It was Thanksgiving of 2022. We're all like, what are we doing next year? It's like we're thinking about what we're going to do next year. We're already talking about hiking Summit and Katahdin in Maine and the 2 event series that we have. And Dan Allen's got a bunch of long distance swims, and Scott's probably going to do something for charity. And Jason, you're probably going to do some sort of ultra, right? This is the time you think about it for next year. So we were thinking about doing 29029. That's the one where you do the elevation of Everest up and down a mountain and take the gondola down. And we were real excited about that. And then we found out it cost $7,000. And then suddenly we weren't excited anymore. And we decided to jokingly, hey, maybe we could build our own company without letting people take the gondola down, and making it reasonably affordable and giving it kind of a gritty and grassroots, hiker trashy flavor. And maybe we can entice ultra marathoners and just everyday people to come do this thing where they're all pushing themselves beyond their limits. And so we said, but we can't just do Everest, right? So we need something for everybody. So we picked the highest mountain on the Appalachian Trail, which is at the time Clingman's Dome. It's been renamed to Kuohi because we have a heritage on the Appalachian Trail. And then we said, well, the tallest mountain in the United States or the Western Hemisphere is Denali, now called Mount McKinley again. So we created an event around that. And then we went with Everest because Everest thing's a thing. And we created an event around that. And then we said, that can't be it. Like, okay, that's the tallest mountain on Earth. Okay, so what else? And so we talked about what else for about a week, all of us chatting and talking and texting. And finally, I started searching for mountains in the solar system that might fit the bill. And as it turns out, there's this volcanic mountain on Mars called Olympus Mons. And we're all nerds in this company. So it created this calculator that you type in the distance, or no, you type in the elevation. It divides it by Mohawk Mountain, 600 feet of gain, and it spits out the distances. And so it spit out 152.5 miles, 84 laps. 84 hours, 122 laps as the best option. So we put it out there. And we didn't think anybody would ever bite on it at all because it's pretty absurd. And so Scott tried the first one, and it was catastrophic. His feet were destroyed, and I'll let him talk about that a little bit. And then he tried again the next season, and he finished. And he finished in an amazing record time of, I believe it was 63 hours or something. Although we're not about that, that is an amazing time. So I like to talk about it. And then we invited a triple crowner to come try it out, a guy who has hiked all 3 of the major national scenic trails in the United States all in one season. And he finished with a couple minutes to spare. And then there's Jason. Jason is a ultra marathoner, trail runner, and he came to be with us 3 different times in 3 different years. He's come every year, and we've been right by his side the whole time. And each time he got closer and closer. And I'm proud to say that Jason actually finished. So I'm going to share with you Jason's finish. Hold on one second. Bear with me for a second. Then I'm going to turn it over to the Olympus Monsers and let them tell their story. But here we go. Who's this guy? This is the finish of your 3rd attempt. Yeah, it sure is. And then maybe when we're talking, you can tell me a little bit about this. So what's that all about? So that's Jason holding his last summit token, which is how we keep track of laps. And he's about to dunk it. Or maybe this is earlier on. Maybe he's got like 7 hours to go. And we handed him this and said, hey, look what we found. This is Scott's finisher token from his finish on his 2nd attempt. And somehow he just wrote last chip on it, SF for Scott Festa, and tossed it in the bag. Well, it showed up on our table somehow magically with about 7 hours to go. So we gave it to Jason and said, this is your final token. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the 2 finishers and kind of let them walk you through their story. And I'm going to be quiet. So
All right, I'm going to go first. First and foremost, Jason, what an amazing accomplishment. I can't tell you how proud I am, first and foremost. Like, I'm choked up proud. Like, it was amazing. 2, I'm so sorry I couldn't be there. Like, literally something came up at the last minute. This is the first one I missed. And it was the most important one to me because I knew you were going to do it. And there was something else I was going to say. I guess that'll do. Like, I'm so sorry that I missed.
Give you a pair of socks or something, right? Isn't that what you were going to tell?
Oh, well, yeah, I think you owe me, like, I'm going to say 7 pairs of
5
socks,
pairs.
but we'll save that for, I am so incredibly proud. Oh, the 3rd thing I was going to say. So we were talking about, what counts, what mileage counts. And I said, or we came to the agreement that, like, you can use miles that you didn't do anything with to count for something else. So like my first attempt, I made it like 80 something miles. It might have been more, might have been less. And but we calculated out that I've done Olympus Mons, Everest. I think that to finish all of them, I only think I need to do like 2 more laps of something, right? You got them all licked, right? You got them all. You're done, sir. You're done. You got them all. We're just going to give you all the belts, right? With phenomenal performance. All right. Now, that being said, you go.
For me, I guess what the finish really for me showed that the average Joe can do it, because let's admit it, Scott, you're not average. You're an animal. You're amazing. I'm somebody that works a very demanding job, 2 jobs. One's very demanding. I have a family, and I'm still able to finish it. And I think anybody can do it if you're willing to put in the time and the effort and make the sacrifices. And not just you, but your family too. As you got to remember, your family suffers as well. And if you're willing to do that, anyone can finish that if they really wanted to. It's just a mindset, and it's setting your mind up.
I firmly believe that, sir. Yep.
Okay, and it was from the first 2 attempts. I just made a bunch of like small errors. Like the first time, I think I lost it mentally, and then the second attempt, I lost time. I didn't follow my plan, and I lost a lot of valuable time. And the third attempt, I was like, I'm going to stick to my plan, and that's what I did, and it all worked out, just like you said. And it just. It didn't vary from it. I mean, definitely things happen, and definitely things come up that you don't plan for, but you control what you can control. So when those uncontrollables come up, you can control those better.
I remember seeing on both occasions, on your first and second attempt, I remember seeing the moment that you were done, and you just didn't know it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, dang it. And yeah. And I know, I don't think Cliff was there for both of them, I think, but he was there for one of them. I remember saying something to Cliff, and I'm like, oh, he's done. And Cliff was like, no, 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 no. I'm like, he's done. He's done. And then it was like 10 laps later, you're like, I'm done.
So Jason, walk us through like what you've done before this and how I'm real curious to know how it compares to the other ultras out there that you've been involved with in terms of difficulty and what's required mentally. And then also like how is the experience different on an iron hike than it would be on one of these other ultra marathons?
So both times I trained a little different because for me in June is hard because of where I live right in the mountains. So we still have snow in April and May. So you can't really, it's hard to get out in the mountains and train. So in June,
That's in New Hampshire, right? Franconia.
Yeah, Franconia. And so I just did a lot of rucking in June. And I would do different things on the treadmill to really try to get as much elevation as I could. And then last minute in June, I was able to get on the mountain a little bit, but not as much as I should have been able to. And so, and I also do a lot of just strength training overall, full body stuff. And then so the one in October, I was able to do quite a few events that prepared me for that. Like I did a last man standing rucking event. It was a hill climb. So I went for like 10 hours with that. I did a couple other smaller events. I did the Killington Spartan Ultra Beast, which is, climbing Killington like 6 times. And so I was able to do all these really cool events that I think really prepared me to do that.
I've climbed Killington once. That's enough.
It's a beautiful mountain.
It is beautiful. The AT goes right over it, right?
Yeah.
But
it was just a matter of just getting up every morning. I work out at I have to get up at 2:00 in the morning because I like to try to be there when my family gets up. Sometimes, I'm not always good at it, but I try to be. So most of the time I'm up by 2:00 and then getting out there, and I would just put in laps. I have a mountain right by my house that has the same elevation, distance, pretty much all the same. And I would just park there, and every Saturday and Sunday I would just go up and down for like 4 or 5 hours, and that was.
You had your own private mohawk to train on?
So
yeah, pretty much. There would be nobody else out there except me and a 3-legged bear at the top of the mountain that was always there.
John, when you say Killington is on the Appalachian Trail, because like you guys had said it, I was like, I wonder where that is. And then you said it's on the Appalachian Trail. So I've done Killington.
You have. It's in Vermont.
Okay.
It's one of the bigger ski areas in Vermont.
Yeah. So full.
Is that the one where there's the actual ski thing that you walk past?
Yeah, you would walk past it at the top.
Okay, then I do remember that.
So full disclosure, Scott's daily mileage on the Appalachian Trail means that sometimes he goes by places so fast he doesn't recall their names.
So I did New Hampshire in 6 days. I did the Whites. I did all of New Hampshire in 6 days. And I don't know what that means. Other people say like, oh my God, but I was just walking and having fun. So yeah, I can't even tell you what they are. You said Franconia, and that one, I remember that one. That was such a great day.
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
That was one of my favorite days.
Yeah, I actually ranged the day before that, so I would get good views that day. That's in Jason's backyard. Jason lives right behind that.
Nice. Very nice.
Less than 2 miles from my house.
All right, I'm done interrupting. Go ahead, sir.
So Jason, have you done the standard trail ultras before?
Yeah, I've done everything from like 100. I did 200 miles once. I've done several 100-milers, bunch of 48 hours, some 48-hour events.
Drop some names. What are the big names that you might have tried?
I've done a bunch of I'm trying to think of. I don't really remember a lot of them. I did so many of them. Oh, what's the other? There's one in Vermont. What is it? Oh, I can't remember the one in Vermont. This one in Vermont that I've done a couple of times. I cannot remember the name of it. I see the logo, but I can't remember it.
So what's the difference?
Endurance Society puts them on.
What's the difference between a regular trail ultra marathon and the going up and down over and over and over again, no flat miles mentally?
it's just doing it 122 times definitely wears on you, and you have to.
Here,
For me,
right?
I just yeah. I mean, that's the thing is there's no flat. As you're just going up and you're going down. It's just you just got to put your mind somewhere else and just not think about it and just concentrate on putting that one foot in front of the other. It's just and the people. I like the way it's set up now rather than the first time. The first couple times you guys did it. Because like this year, like in October and in June, that it was nice to have people throughout the whole thing. Some fresh legs, going up and down, and it helped me too because sometimes I'd get talking with somebody, and like a couple of these times I would get like 20-minute laps again because I was just talking with somebody, not really paying attention to what I was doing. And so that was super helpful as well.
Let me give some detail on that. When we first started in 2023, we started everyone together on Saturday morning, and then the long distance folks like Jason and Scott who are doing Olympus Mons, they would keep trekking all the way till Wednesday. And so the other people, some people finished on Saturday, some on Sunday, some on Monday. And so what happens if you're an Olympus Mons iron hiker, you start to see fewer and fewer and fewer people, and you start to get lonelier and lonelier, and it becomes less interesting and less interesting. And so the mental game of each lap becomes harder and harder. And so in the beginning of last season, I don't know, at the end of last season, I think we started what we called the stagger start all finish. And so Olympus Monsers show up on Wednesday, and they start at midnight on Wednesday, and their finish time is Sunday at noon. And then the next day, the Everesters show up at noon, and their finish time is Sunday at noon. And then on Friday, the Denali starters show up, and their finish time is Sunday at noon. And then on Saturday, the Kuohiers show up, and there's two flavors of them. There's the 15-milers and the double Kuohi, and their finish time is midnight on Saturday, and then they sleep over, most of them, or Sunday at noon. So you have this crescendo, right, where more and more people start showing up, and there's always fresh faces on the trail. And this is exactly what we had hoped would happen, Jason, that it would be socially, it would be more interesting and less drudgery, that there'd be a lot more people showing up. And now, I mean, in 2026, I know you're not coming out, Jason, but if you were to try it again, or if we were to produce a double Olympus Mons, and you were to come out, the registration's already through the roof. And so it's going to be super crowded on a Saturday night, which is going to be so much fun, right? So
yeah, I think that was definitely, sorry. That was
okay.
definitely the way to do it, though. It was definitely helps you
That
mentally.
staggered start, man. There is no worse feeling, right, than you're hiking and people are cleaning up.
Yeah, you're the last guy.
And you're the only one there. People are like taking signs down, and you're like,
no, we did this to Scott. We started taking the signs down and the flags and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, wait a minute."
yeah.
I'm not done
And
yet.
then, and because I'm part of it, they're like, "Hey, buddy, on your way down next time,
Could you grab a
couple-
couple signs? He's already done 121 miles. We're like, grab a couple signs on your way down.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was really glad when John and I sat there and talked about starts and finishes, and we came up with the staggered start or the whatever we call it.
They all finish. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's huge because I can walk by myself. In the beginning, when you're walking by yourself, it's the beginning, and everyone's still pumped up, and they're like, "Yeah, woo, and they're still, because like the first time that you tried the Olympus Mons, there were 8 people who were doing it, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so there's quite a few, yeah.
And because I remember like there was one, I don't know who she was, but there was one lady who was like, she did 2 laps and she's like, "Yeah, piece of cake, I got this one, whatever." And then like 8 laps, she's like, "At my knee," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
So, I'm finding 3 categories of Olympus Monsers. There's the people who show up and have completely underestimated it. And when they get on lap 3, they're like, they start doing math in their head, and they start forecasting the impossibility of getting it done based on my pace, how much harder this summit is than it looked or than I thought it was going to be. and I'm way underprepared for this. And then they start cranking math. And instead of finishing on Sunday, they would finish on Thursday of the next week at their current pace or whatever. And so they're done after lap 3. And oftentimes people show up, they're done, and then they just camp with us for 2 or 3 days and really enjoy like the vibe. And then other people really give it a shot, and they get way deep into it, maybe 50 miles into it, and realize that it's just not for them. And so they end up finishing the Everest. We will award you with an Everest finish if you don't make the Olympus Mons, if you make it within the timeline of 72 hours to 61 miles. And then the last group are the people who are like Jason and Scott, who can finish it and absolutely can. They come prepared mentally, physically, but then something happens, right? There was a mishap, or you got a little bit unfocused on the schedule, like you said on your second one, or in Scott's case, he had a blister on every single toe, and the course was wet the whole time in 2023, and the turnaround at base was literally a lake, and so he never had dry feet ever. Trench foot set in after about 60 hours, and it was just game over. So, but and we're an all-weather event, so rain or shine, right? So, but. So I really hope that we can attract. Oh, and these folks behind me right here, that's the first Olympus Mons relay team, and they did it in a linear fashion, which I thought was really cool. They did all 122 laps, one after the other. So as soon as one person finished, the next person came on. So there was a sense of urgency around that, which was pretty cool. They could have done the whole thing together and finished in 1/4 the time, but because it's a flex relay, but they really enjoyed themselves, and that was quite the endeavor. I've never seen an Olympus Mons relay team finish, so that was pretty cool.
And a really
so Jason, if
group
people
of
were
people.
thinking about doing this, what would you tell them? What would you tell people if like they're watching this and they're like, maybe I'll try that?
I say you can do it. You just have to put the training in, and with the Olympus Mons, there's not a lot of wiggle room. You know, like I slept only 5 hours. I think 4 hours in the whole time.
And that's an 84-hour period.
Yeah. You know, I finished, what, 79 hours? Did I finish 80 hours, 79 hours, something like that? So I had a little bit more time, but it wasn't much. And it just really just kept on going, just keep going. And it is hard. I mean, especially at night, you know, that whole, like sometimes you guys would go to bed. So I'd be out there for a few hours just by myself. And it's just, I think that's where the mental game, you know, comes into play. It's tough. It's dark. It's cold.
Yeah, and the only line of defense is the we have medical patrol, who are employee or contractors who are employees at Mohawk Mountain, and for a brief hour or two, you'll find that we're all down sleeping, and then they're in charge. And so, like in the event that you had any trouble, you could just swing over to the you could have knocked on any one of those tents.
I mean, there's plenty of people around.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
I don't want to make it sound like you guys are just disappeared. No, there's always people around, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but the wee hours are definitely an interesting time. It's quiet. You're alone with your thoughts and your doubts. And it's dark and the grass is wet. The grass gets wet no matter what every day at like 9 p.m. and stays wet till 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. the next day till the sun burns it off.
I tell you, man, the nighttime was that was my time to move. Like, you're not messing with the sun. You know, you have wet feet, but okay, you can walk slow and have wet feet, or you can walk fast and have wet feet. You still have wet feet, and so that's always my mindset is making. And I have it written down what my mileage at night was versus what my mileage during the day was. Now I don't know where I put that piece of paper. It'll pop
Your
up.
Your finish was in a June, so it was hot, right?
Mine.
Yeah.
So like I had the 24-hour schedule, and I just rotated it to where I was sleeping during the hottest part of the day. And then at night, I was going like crazy. Yeah. It's written down somewhere. I just don't know.
I do think if I can add a little bit, thinking about that last night and finishing and the energy that was on the mountain, what I think added to, I mean, Jason, it was incredible to be able to watch you finish and to be there through the night. And, you know, Cliff and I were determined, neither of us were going to sleep. We were staying up all night. We are going to make sure that you made it through. And but we also had the Answer the Bell athlete on the mountain at the same time. So there was
Izzy.
definitely, yeah, Izzy was on the mountain with you through that whole night. So like having that energy, and of course she was on a different, she was doing 24 hours. So she was pretty fresh in the beginning, but definitely brought an incredible amount of energy, and you weren't alone. I don't know. I mean, you can tell us if that was true for you or not, but I felt watching you guys, cheering you on and supporting you, that there was just a different energy that night that kind of could push you through.
I would agree that the last night was definitely, was a lot of energy. Lot more energy in there. For me too, that was an interesting night, as you know, John. When I was coming down the mountain, I had a switch. For me, that last night was, I think I was going up, and I wish John was here because he could probably tell some stories of me swearing at myself as I was going up
Yeah.
the last climb.
No, we heard you. We thought you were singing, and then we were like,
No, I
what is?
actually thought that he saw a skunk or a bear or something and was
Oh, yeah.
hollering, but he was swearing at himself. He was motivating himself. And look, Jason, I got to tell you, man, you came out. We've produced this thing our first season was experimental. I'm going to put that out there, but we had one full season, and then the second full season. So we've produced this thing 5 times at Mohawk, and to have you do a 3-peat and not finish, and then almost finish, and then finish, we felt like family with you. I mean, the jokes were flowing. The people were rubbing, Cliff was rubbing your back, and like the Scott, we literally, I tell people, they're like, well, how do you guys support people? I say, we support people all in. Like, we even give you the socks off of our feet, bro. Like, that's who we are. And so like
shoe alterations.
Yeah, like at one point Cliff cut a big hole out of your shoe because it was rubbing your foot the wrong way. So and I picture it. So that's the other thing. Like, how supported did you feel versus the other things that you've done in your life as an endurance athlete with us? Like, I'm trying to point out the difference between an iron hike experience and everything else.
I think that was the biggest difference, is that you guys are like, we definitely became more like family throughout the time, and you guys are always there. You guys, that's the big difference, is it's a core team that's there. I mean, you guys will literally do anything to help anyone there, not just me, but anybody there. And I'm proof of it. I'm sure I stunk, and Cliff was sitting there helping me put my socks on that one of the last nights,
Yeah.
And I'm sure I hadn't showered in days, but you guys are always there, willing to help. I mean, Scott, you were trying, like in June, you really were helping me try to finish, doing whatever you could do. It's that the people definitely make the difference. The camaraderie, that's the big difference, and you don't get that at a lot of other events, like some of the bigger events.
So I would tell you that, and I joke a lot about, like, I had to take signs down on the last lap, or I joke about that quite a bit. But the truth is, we really truly pride ourselves on how can we help, how can we make you successful, right? Where like I'm your biggest fan because I've been there, and I'm like, how can I make this guy successful? What can I do, right? When Quadzilla, it was the same way, man. Whenever I was, what do you need? And that's what we're there for, right? Where we want to make sure everyone has a good time. We want to make sure everyone is safe. We want everyone to succeed, and we want everyone to suffer. There's no doubt about that. We want everyone to be in pain. We 100% believe in that, right? But we want you to find something within yourself, and we want to be there to help support that, help grow that, nurture it, push it along, whatever you want to call that. But we pride ourselves, the 4 of us truly pride ourselves on, we are there.
So Jason, I got to ask.
And I would just say you're absolutely correct. I mean, it's just, I saw you guys help everybody there. And you're just whatever you need. I mean, Scott, you went out and got me a sandwich, for crying out loud.
We do a lot of that. We do a lot.
I got me a sandwich as well, so you know.
Yeah, and like even Tasha with Izzy, like so Izzy was the 17-year-old that decided to do a answer the bell for 24 hours, which is more than a marathon, no flat miles. She had to show up every hour on the hour, and that was your last night. And Tasha turned into trail mom quick. She was making sure she had electrolytes and she was drinking. We made her mom and dad comfortable. We set a tent up for them and a cot. You know, they didn't come prepared, right? So we took good care of them. So it's just we love doing this, and you know, we get it, we understand it. We're all endurance athletes ourselves. So I got to ask you, Jason, is this the hardest thing you've ever done?
Yeah, I would say with the job.
Yes.
Just the elevation is incredible.
It doesn't look like it at first, right? That it looks like a little hill the first time you do it.
No, but it's like going into a convenience store and spending $1, right? Eventually, it all adds up, and I think that's just like what you said. It just people go there and they're like, oh, this isn't too bad. You get 1 or 2 laps in there, but once you start getting in the 20 to 30 range, you start to feel that. You're like, okay, you know, this is real.
And the course actually chooses violence somewhere around the 70% mark on the way up. Like it's pretty mellow until you get to that last little turn, and then it's like this. And it's like that every time, right?
Yeah, the last little climb, yeah.
Yeah, every
going
time.
Down too. Going downhill, you start to suck too. I mean, that's just, you know, really starts to hurt right after a certain time.
So what do we have to do to get you to come back, Jason? Do we have to create a double Olympus Mons or a triple Everest, or like what's it going to take?
I'm not gonna lie, probably will be back, just because that's who I am, and I love the community. I think the community is awesome, and if the community wasn't so great, I definitely wouldn't consider coming back. But I love the community there. So I don't know which one yet. I haven't really decided, but I probably will be back.
I think the next milestone could be that 63-hour mark that was set by somebody I know with a yellow hat on.
I don't know if I can do that. That's incredible.
I witnessed it. It was amazing.
Whoever breaks it gets the yellow hat. There's only one in the world.
Oh, and I got to point out, the yellow hat's never been washed. That's probably
even better.
It's probably very disgusting at the moment. Yeah. All right, guys. Anything in closing? Anything you'd like to say?
Again, great accomplishment. So proud of you. So like I consider myself mildly above average badass, dude. 3 times, nah. You got the crown. Like I don't care. Congratulations.
Has anybody crunched the numbers on how many times you guys have walked up and down Mohawk Mountain at Mohawk ski area? I think that there are employees that work at Mohawk that have been there for 20 years that haven't walked that mountain as many times as you guys have.
You're probably correct.
It's a lot.
For me, I think the 3rd time was because I knew I could do it, and so I knew that I wasn't going to go home the 3rd time without doing it. Like it was definitely a mindset thing, you know.
But I knew you could do it the first time. The first time I saw you hiking, I knew you could do it.
But I do remember
that was a time when there was like 8 people, right? There were like 8 people going, and I was like, I picked out who would. Okay, these are the and then these are the ones not so much, and I picked you very first time. Yeah, I knew it.
So Jason, I do remember your wall. You had a wall at the end. I want to say it was probably 7 or 8 hours before you finished, where you just weren't sure. And Cliff was really working you up. He was making sure you had everything you needed. He was all over your every lap. You guys were doing math. Like every lap you were running math together. Okay, so how many minutes do I have to come in, and how many minutes rest do I have? And like you could see the calculus going, right? It was like square the hypotenuse, carry the 1, and you guys were doing this every lap. And there was this point where we just realized, okay, he can see the end now. for the longest time, you couldn't see the end. But once you could see the end, and the math was you had a 7-hour buffer. Remember that? It's like, I have 7-hour buffer. And then it turned into a 4.5-hour buffer, but it was a 7-hour buffer. And you were like, yeah. And that's when you decided that you were going to burn the ships and keep going. And that was the point where if you were going to quit, it was going to be at that point. And you made that decision. And just watching Cliff. So Cliff's not on this call. Like, shout out to Cliff. Like, I think that a large portion of your finish has to do with Cliff being completely engaged with you.
Yeah, I would agree.
100%. He was all in with you the whole time. And it was an amazing thing to watch.
Cliff is really good about that math, right? Every time this past one, when I did answer the bell, right? Cliff was right there doing math with me. He's like, okay, you got, you're starting to slip. You got to step up. You got to this, you got to that, And during the Olympus Mons one, Cliff right there doing the math every time and like keeping track of stuff for me. Cliff's amazing at that. He's such a nerd, right? Yeah. I love him. I love the depth.
So if you're watching this for the first time, we're talking about Cliff Anders, one of the co-founders. And then Dan was always at the top of the mountain. I'm sure that you had some good exchanges with Dan, providing you with some updates and some comfort, right? Was Dan sleeps up at top usually.
Yeah, he was usually, but he was up. It was nice to have him up there because he was usually up there right around 3, those weird hours, which was awesome. To have him up there and like you could have a quick chat with him and then head back down, or like that one lap. I think I took a nap for like 5 minutes. I looked at him and I said, "Can you wake me up like 5 minutes?"
at the top, I think he told us about that.
But yeah, Cliff was amazing. I can't thank him enough. Going there without a support crew.
Yeah, you showed up alone. A lot of people show up with someone helping them.
Yeah. And it's hard, and having like all you guys are willing to help. Everyone's willing to help, and that's awesome. But Cliff he kept me on track, and because there definitely was a point. And I think it was when I came streaming down the mountain at 2 o'clock in the morning. Like I was just getting so frustrated because I couldn't hit that point of where I felt comfortable, where I was going to finish. And it took me a while to really get to that point. But once I did, I was like, okay, even if I slow down to 1 lap an hour, I have this in the bag. And to me, that once I hit that, that was like, oof, like I can do it. Like that was really, I don't like to take things for granted, but at that point I was like, okay, I can do this. Even if I have to drag myself, I can drag myself up here once an hour. And so that was really my goal.
What was the day after like where you just completely crushed, beat, destroyed? Like, was it hard the day after, or how'd you feel? Did you recover well?
I recovered okay, yeah. I work on my feet. So a lot of people were laughing at me at work, but because I was definitely walking funny. But I was back at things probably 3 or 4 days later. I'm not going to say I was 100%, but I was definitely moving. So yeah.
Well, so we're gonna close here. I really appreciate you jumping on, Jason. So again, if you don't know, Jason and Scott Festa are 2 of 3 Olympus Mons finishers ever, and they've each also not finished. And so they have that full breadth of experience. And if you come out and you join us and you're going to do Olympus Mons, more than likely Scott's going to be there. I'll be there, and more than likely Tasha will be there. And we will try to, if you come ready, we'll try to make sure that we help you propel yourself through that challenge of 151 miles, 122 laps. And what is the elevation gain on that thing again? It is 72,590 feet. And I dare say that's the most elevation of any ultra on Earth. And you can look it up. That has everybody beat hands down. We may not be going through the Alps. And it may not be a long stretch through beautiful wilderness, but that's the most elevation you're going to get.
And anybody can do it. I mean, that's the thing, is that if you're willing to put in the time, the effort, and make the sacrifices, anybody can do it. I mean, I'm not anything special by any means.
Oh, come on, man. I was there with you 3 times. You're about as special as they come.
No, Jason's right. As long as you got your mind right, you can do this. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be in a little bit of shape, but not much, right? You can do this. It's that simple. As long as you got a plan and you're disciplined and you stick to that plan and you know what you want to do, you can do this. And that's anything in life. I don't give a shit what it is. So
All right, everybody. Appreciate the time, and we'll close out the podcast, and we'll see you on the mountain.
Awesome. Thank you.
Comment. Thanks, Tasha. Thanks, guys.